You know, I was never the popular kid in school. I was never really the coolest kid or the most fancy. I mean, I was probably one of the losers, if you really want to be, if you want to be honest. No, I was often alone and sitting by myself in the lunch yard. No one would come up and talk to me, really. It was all fun and games back then, though. It didn't really matter. I had a couple of friends, but, you know, friends don't always last. It was difficult times for me. I was one of the kids everyone wailed on, picked on, because I was the smallest. But you know, these days, I find it funny. Funny that people actually manage to grill me that much. And for what? What did they gain out of fucking around with me? Where did they get off? Is what I'd like to know. I was bullied. Yeah. It didn't help much that I was one of the kids that wet the bed. Yeah. It was terrible. Up until year 5, actually. I was a bedwetter. You can laugh if you want. I mean, I've heard of people who were bedwetters until they were 18. I'm 20 now. That was a far-fetched way. Like, I stopped wetting the bed pretty much that year. But you know, thinking back, all the things I could have done, could have said. I mean, I remember this one teacher at school. I actually went up to him and I told him, "Hey, these kids are picking on me. I don't like it." You know what he did? He turned around at me and says, "Oh poo, go and deal with it yourself." That boiled me, mate. I mean, I was in a year 5 camp. Now, because of my bedwetting, I had to wear pretty much nappies, mate. I had to wear the pull-ups, man. And little did I know that while we were out on one of the day activities, some kids actually went through my backpacks. Yeah, they went into the dormitory when they weren't supposed to, went through me bags and found them. From then on in, I was known as Diaper Boy. Yeah, it was a fucked up time for my life. I actually had to up and move schools because I couldn't handle it. It was affecting my study. Because I was picked on so much, I was never really good at school. I spent too much time worrying about what other people thought. And you have to wonder, what does that do to a kid? A young kid, everyone always picking on him. I tell you what, these days, if I ever ran into one of those cunts, I'd probably break his jaw. And even then, I probably wouldn't stop. I'd probably keep punching him until he's within an inch of his life. And trust me, I'm a lot stronger than I look. I might be a skinny cunt, but I'll tell you a story. One time, I was actually tripping out. I was flipping out. And there was this guy, 3 times the size of me, and I basically tried to climb him like a tree. And he said I got pretty high up on him. I mean, I couldn't remember a damn thing. I was out of it like crazy, but I actually climbed this bloke. I was clawing up at me and everything, he said. I didn't get any video footage. It was pretty funny because after I went into my room and I started doing a dance, yeah? It was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I might not be the most experienced fighter, but I tell you what, if I ever meet one of those guys again, and they have the audacity to take one foul-mouthed word at me, I'd be tempted to come home, grab me bow and put an arrow through their heads. That's what bullying does to kids. It turns them into cold, heartless bastards. You think, oh, that kid's so nice. He's helping his grandma across the street. Bunch of buff wankers come along. Oh, look. A cougar and his little boy girlfriend. Fucking hate, mate. People these days have no sensitivity whatsoever. They'll pick on a kid for anything. He got big ears. He got a big nose. His eyes look funny. He got bushy eyebrows. He got monobrow. His hair looks girly. When he talks like a girl. I mean, take Justin Bieber for example. Everyone wails on him. Oh, he's a fag. He's a cunt. He's a wanker. He can't sing. If he can't sing, then how the fuck is he making so much money off of his music? I don't personally have a taste for it, but you've got to give the kid some kudos. He bought his mum a fucking house and an SUV and a car. With what? The money he got off of all those concerts he put up. If he really wanted to, he could go out and get more tail than most of you sorry ass motherfuckers out there. And you think yourself tall, yeah? I can't express how funny I find that. Kids that were picked on, bullied, right? Those are the kinds of kids that grow up to be homicidal maniacs. They're the kinds of people that will just take the shit and take it and take it until one day someone is going to push them too far and they're going to snap. You won't know when, you know what? Won't know how, but one day that switch will be flipped, and you know what's going to happen? Another one of that high school in America, the one where those two kids went on a murderous rampage with guns, killing teachers and students before shooting themselves in the heads. That's the gravity of bullying. Now, I'm just saying this to all the kids who are bullied. I know how you feel. My primary school years weren't the best, and in high school, I was actually I was a bit of a bully myself. I turned from being a nice little kid. I made friends with everybody. Well, I tried to the kid who actually tried to push my own miserable existence onto other people. And that, thinking back, I feel like such a dick. Because, you know, after all those times that I got picked on, I couldn't take 1 second to sit back and think, fuck. Maybe I'm doing to this kid what happened to me. Maybe I'm the one who's going to push him too far. I was at a high school, and I remember hearing on the news a couple of years ago about a kid who actually got bullied to the point where he came to school with a shotgun in his backpack. And at lunchtime, he walks out into the middle of in the middle of the school courtyard and he blows his brains out. That's what happens when you be a dickhead. That's what happens when you think that you're better than someone else. That is what happens when you be that fuckhead who decides to pick on someone because you think you're better than them, or because they have got something that you don't get. I say this to you bullies. If my little sisters ever came home from school crying, and I found out who it was who made them cry, by God they're going to wish they didn't. I mean, I'm not the most violent person. I don't like to fight. If there's a tussle down, I'm the one who usually runs away, because that's the smart thing to do. Because in a fight, a lot of fights will end up on the ground. Ground and pound. And that's the one place you don't want to be. Because these days, kids are fucking idiots. They can't tell the difference between kick or stop. These days, it's to the point where kids will keep kicking and kicking and kicking. And next thing you know, that kid who's been getting kicked, he ends up dead. Or worse, in a wheelchair. And why? Because that kid couldn't stop kicking him. Anger does some crazy things to people. Emotions. I remember, there's this song. It's written by a super chick. Yeah? It's called Hero. That song pretty much sums up what I've just said. Now, you can either be the person who picks on the people or makes fun of them. Oh, that girl's fat. She got no friends. Why don't you pull your fucking finger out of your ass for 5 minutes and go talk to the girl? You never know. She could have the nicest personality. You never know. She might have some rich ass parents too. Oh, that girl's got big butt teeth. And she walks around all like this. Oh, chipmunk face. You know what? Her parents could possibly be the next president, or the next governor, or even the judge of the town, the cop, the police officer. You never know who you're dealing with. I mean, my father, he did martial arts as a kid my age. Now, I know if people had have messed with me, and I had actually gone back and told him, he would have shown up. And I know my father. He can chuck me around like no tomorrow. He's still bigger than me. He might be an old fart, but he can still beat me left, right and centre. I'm working to change that. One day I'm going to beat my father. And it's going to be funny. Because I can finally stand next to him and say, you know what? I can beat you, but I still love you. That's the thing greatly missing in our world today. Love. If people put as much effort into caring for each other as they did in putting each other down, I bet you there'd be a lot less suicides in our society. Kids are out there committing suicide because they can't handle bullying. You say, oh no, that's terrible. That's awful. This kid's gone and offed himself because he couldn't handle it. Some people would say, oh, he's a pussy because he couldn't stand up for himself. Think about it. If you're the guy getting picked on, who's going to stand up for you? Who's going to stand up for him? You're what? You're the bully. You got 10 of your mates. Oh, you're the popular kid. You got 10 of your mates around him. Why do you think he's going to stand up for himself when he's got another 10 guys who are ready to jump in for this one bloke who's picking on you? I was like that. I remember getting chased across the school oval because these kids wanted to beat me up. Luckily, I was the fastest kid in school. No one could keep up with me. Once I took off, I was gone. These kids couldn't catch me even if they tried. Lucky they were fat, lazy fucks. But you know something? I never wanted to run away. I didn't want to have to. I wanted to be able to count people as my friend. I'd much rather have a friend than have an enemy. You know how much better having a friend is over having an enemy. And to be blatantly honest, you know, that kid you're teasing, he could turn out to be your boss one day. And you know what? He could turn around and make your life a misery. He can turn around and pretty much, if he happens to be one of the top jobs you get out of high school or university, or when you finally finish doing whatever the fuck it is you're doing, he can call ahead to any place you try to go and get a job at and pretty much tell them that you're a bully. You're a person that picks on people, takes people for granted, and when they're done, spits them out like it's a vile taste in his mouth. And you know what? You probably end up on the dole for the rest of your life. Or better yet, working at McDonald's making me food. So just think before the next time you go and pick on a kid, because you never know. You might get to the point one day where he comes home, or he's on his way to his next class, and he just happens to be carrying one of these. Yeah. He might just happen to have a samurai sword on him, just randomly. So, and if he recognises you, and you have that slight inkling to turn around and say, "Oi, are you the kid I picked on in high school or primary school?" That's right. You're that little pussy. You know what? He might just be mental enough to take that sword and stab it into your ugly mug. I mean, he could stab it so far into your gut that your entrails end up all over the floor. And you know what? He probably won't show any remorse. He'll probably go to jail and think, "Damn, it was so worth it. I stabbed one of my bullies. And no longer is he going to be able to torment me or anyone else. You know why? Because I stabbed him." Now, let that be a lesson to you on the psychology of the victim. Yeah, the victim. You want to play the perpetrator? Be my guest. But don't act so surprised if that kid one day turns up to school with a 9mm pistol aimed at your face because you were too stupid to bite your tongue and to think, is my picking on this kid going to turn him into a lean, mean killer? That's just a thought. You don't have to listen to me, but listen to this instead. You see that? That is not the body of a kid who likes to get picked on. Not anymore. You pick on a kid like me, and he might just turn out to be something like this. And he might decide that your worthless, pathetic life is worth 2 cents to him. He might decide, oh yeah, I have a fetish for knives now. Perhaps I could take a knife and shove it so far up your ass and mix around a bit that, oh wait, no, you're already a shit for brains if you're picking on the kid in the first place, so I guess that just make you no brain, just shit. I mean, yeah, that just make you a shithead, really, if you think about it. Anyway, I'm done with my rant. This is just random rant, just saying. Don't pick on kids, because you never know. They might turn out to be a little bit like me. I got nothing to lose. I could go to prison. I could go to jail. You know what? To some people, they don't even care. As long as they get their closure for all the things that happened to them. I mean, I'm not about to go stab anyone. I'm just saying. You really got to think before you start picking on a kid. Because there might come a time where that kid could mean the difference between you living or dying. I mean, I've been called a hero by countless people. I mean, my father, he says that he brags about me all the time. I was living overseas when bullets were flying over my head. And all I thought about were my little sisters. I didn't think about myself. I didn't think about anything. All I thought was get my little sisters safety. Now, some kids can be the kids that are picked on. That doesn't discount their merit. You just gotta think. You're gonna wail on a kid. Make sure you're ready to reap the consequences. This is Nathan. Stay frosty. Sorry, I was in some sort of competition. I did some sort of entrance acting thing. I thought it was pretty fun. You should go check it out. It's in one of my other videos. Give it a look if you want. I don't really care. You can if you want. I'd rather if you did. I mean, I didn't upload it for nothing. Anyway, I'm Nathan. And I'm Australian. Oh, and Champ Chong. I'm just saying. You're a legend. And also Justin James Hughes.
Nathan, are you talking to yourself again?
No.